A warm welcome to you all for joining us here today for the 21st Annual Leakage Conference. The first time we've had to bring you all together virtually. There are over 170 of you from 60 different organizations, all bringing specialist leakage knowledge, experience and insights to today's and tomorrow's discussions, both as delegates and as speakers. We have a rich program. The depth and range of experience, the discussions and debates today will be equally rich. We are very grateful to our sponsors for their continuing support. Many of you have been with us on this conference journey for 10 years or more. But we also have some new companies involved too. So thank you to Aquasuite, RHDHV, Bermad, Gutterman, HWM, Mueller Ecologics, Ovaro, SME Water, Takura, Technolog, and the Water Report. And welcome to our exhibitors joining our sponsors in this expo. A welcome to Welsh Water, RPS, SES Water, and Severn Trent Water. Okay, so again, welcome and thank you all for joining us here today. I hope we're getting to know each other by now as we come together again to explore the creative and innovative ways in which we can all collaborate to meet our public interest commitment leakage goals. This is the first time we've been virtual and the first time we're holding this conference over 2 days. A big thank you to everyone for bringing your project, case studies and ideas, experiences forward to share with others. We have a very exciting agenda planned over the next 2 days, following key areas of content, such as the Driving Innovation Forum, the Data Forum, Operational and Technology Developments Forum, and the Find and Fix Forum. Collaboration is absolutely key to achieving success with this PIC, and you all have a significant role to play in making sure we continue to drive down leakage to world-class levels. So again, I would urge you to make maximum use of this event. Please use the chat function to make comments and ask questions as we go throughout the day. And please do use the networking times in the expo sessions and the one-to-one speed networking sessions. New slide, please. So it was nearly 2 years ago, in April 2019, that the industry announced the Water UK's 5 public interest commitments, with those challenging social and environmental goals. The work in each PIC is being sponsored by one or more chief executive, sponsored by Water UK and specialist resources from the industry. Along with Bob Taylor from Portsmouth Water and Peter Simpson from Anglian Water, I sponsor the Leakage Public Interest Commitment. To deliver the 5 PICs, we need to work together, collaboratively, across the sector and with supply chain partners to foster innovation and to learn from each other. No individual company can deliver these commitments on their own, but I'm sure if we continue to work together, as we're now doing, we will deliver those commitments, and in doing so, achieve truly world-leading performance. The connectivity of the 5 PICs is also crucial. For example, as we move towards a low-carbon future, we'll examine more closely how we use energy to deliver our water supplies from start to finish. Next slide, please. The challenges posed to water supplies are rising to the top of society's agenda, not least because of the pressures on demand as population growth continues, coupled with climate emergency. The lockdowns of the past year have amplified environmental concerns as more people venture out to green spaces and local rivers. There is a wider appreciation of our local environment now than there has ever been, and more people are taking an active interest in the roles they need to play to stem the tide from the effects of climate change. As the UK readies to host COP26 later this year, the most significant climate summit since Paris, we know everyone here understands the weight of that and how each and every one of you here today has an important role to play in ensuring the long-term sustainability of water resources in our country. Reducing leakage to world-class levels is a key part of that goal, with its added effects of significantly reducing the industry's carbon footprint. We also know that we cannot achieve long-term sustainability without customers by our side. As an industry, we must continue to work actively with customers to reduce demand, and we must be seen to go above and beyond to tackle leakage. We all know firsthand how easily water-saving messages lose gravitas when people perceive so much water is lost through leakage. We all have a part to play in tackling this crisis as individuals, as representatives, and as companies to ultimately transition to a more sustainable way of living. New slide, please. And I think it's a new slide. I think it's the next one, Judith, please. I think I've just gone through that one. Okay, so challenges. Key to meeting our leakage goals are the personnel working hard to keep the country's water running during the current COVID-19 crisis, a once-in-a-100-year global pandemic. Whether it's replacing pipes, repairing leaks, or supporting customers to access the help they need, water industry workers have been and are still, a year on, at the front line during this difficult time. We are officially designated key workers in critical supply service. Throughout these challenging times, our teams have been out on the UK streets carrying out critical maintenance, laying new pipes, finding and fixing leaks, and unblocking sewers. At Affinity Water, we're about to issue new specially designed key worker jackets to our customer-facing teams to acknowledge the importance of their roles and to encourage the public to respect social distancing to keep our team safe. During the first lockdown, Rebecca Powell MP wrote to all water industry workers thanking them for keeping the nation's water running during the COVID-19 outbreak. The letter addressed to water company employees said that she is incredibly grateful for the proactive approach and the extraordinary effort you've all shown to keep our vital services running. This acknowledgement is important. Pats on the back are much appreciated when so much work has gone into adapting our working practices so that we can safely carry out our work. I should also mention that in terms of help during the pandemic, more than 90,000 customers have now been given payment breaks to give them a much needed breathing space. Despite the challenges that COVID has brought us and our customers, we must push on with our most vital work. The industry has made great progress in reducing leakage, which is at its lowest since records began in the mid-90s. But we must move at pace with the aim to triple the rate of reduction by 2030. This is a challenging goal, unprecedented, but it is absolutely key to the long-term sustainability of our water resources. However, if we continue to work at pace on our leakage public interest commitment activities, such as those we will discuss today and tomorrow, I am confident that we will meet this target. Next slide, please. I'm pleased to report that the PIC on leakage is continuing to look at new ways to further collaboration, drive efficiencies, transform processes, and to learn from each other, centered around several platforms. The purpose of these platforms is to encourage innovation within the sector and across the supply chain. Heat maps. The sector-wide heat map aims to drive efficiencies in our collaborative efforts by avoiding duplication of innovative projects. Using a centralized database, it highlights projects that each individual water company is undertaking and promotes information sharing so everyone has access to learn best practices and learn from the projects that have performed well. There'll be an in-depth discussion on the heat map with Jeremy Heath in the Driving Innovation Forum, and we'll be keen to get your feedback. Centre of Excellence. We need to make it easier for the sector to collaborate and innovate. Water UK and the sector are currently developing a Centre of Excellence, which is hoped will eventually serve all the different PICs. The Centre of Excellence concept is still being explored, but a main strand of the initiative is to set up a team dedicated to facilitate and broker cross-sector collaboration, relationships and opportunities. This team would manage collaborative groups and communities of best practice virtually and help accelerate the development of ideas. It will also foster innovation and closer working throughout the supply chain by implementing a proposal portal where innovators and businesses can submit their ideas and solutions to cross-sector challenges. You'll get a better update on the Centre of Excellence progress from Andrea Geisen at the Driving Innovation Forum. Next slide, please. The Innovation Fund. Ofwat's recent Innovation Fund is an exciting opportunity for the sector. The 200 million fund has 5 strategic innovation themes, which absolutely resonate within the public interest commitments in stimulating innovation and collaboration to deliver projects that meet the needs of customers, society, and the environment. Water companies, in partnership with others, can submit bids for projects to tackle the most challenging issues facing us now and in the future, such as how we will meet our net zero commitments, improving the ecological status of our water environments, and how we improve operational resilience in sustainable and efficient ways. I'm looking forward to seeing how water companies and supply chain partners come together with this exciting opportunity and learning about new innovative projects. You can hear more about this in the Driving Innovation Forum session with Harry Armstrong and Ben Tapp. On the route map, in late 2020, the sector launched its route map to net zero carbon by 2030. This ambitious plan demonstrates that when we work together, we have the ability to deliver true transformation that will be felt for generations to come. Through this work, the UK water industry will be perceived as a global leader in combating the threat of climate change. The sector is working closely with the UN on this initiative in the run-up to COP26. And it is really exciting to be part of this and a great opportunity for us as a sector to lead the way for the rest of the world. The PIC leakage team aims to learn from this route map to net zero model to create our own leakage route map and create a clear path with set timelines and deliverables. And you'll hear more about that from Jeremy at the next session. Next slide, please. So before we wrap up and continue with the rest of the conference, I would like to take the time to highlight just a few of the many exciting, innovative projects that the sector is already working on to drive down leakage. So, Yorkshire Water has started the largest and most extensive smart water network pilot in the UK, collaborating with over 15 companies in the digital water space to further improve the essential water supply service it provides to customers. Essex and Suffolk Water has teamed up with utility giants Suez and satellite experts Utilis to harness the power of space satellites to help spot leaks on its network. SES Water has partnered with Vodafone to create an intelligent water distribution network to help them detect and fix leaks. Next slide. And at Affinity, we're making use of artificial intelligence with sophisticated data science and machine learning to understand leakage patterns and trends. We have fully automated the nightline analysis, so there is real-time data available to our leakage teams, which minimize manual intervention. These models are currently based on our interruptions to supply model and our PCC model, which are all derived from water balance data in real time. This is then displayed to our technicians and leakage leads in our situational awareness digital tool, which enables our teams to see potential impacts. So much value we've already gained from data science, and as we further roll out our digital twin capability, Affinity Water will change the way we operate in many areas of our business. We will get much greater level of insight into how we can be more effective in delivering our targets. We firmly believe in open data and that it's important to the water industry and to our customers, and we are willing and keen to share our new systems openly with the sector. Okay, so thank you. We all know why it is essential that we meet our leakage goals in the short and longer term. The rate of change in the water industry and the development of new tools and platforms is progressing at pace due to the collaboration of water companies, regulators, and supply chain partners. We are making real progress, and we are now setting the foundations for further significant improvements. I'd like to thank you all for attending this conference, and I strongly encourage you to listen carefully to your colleagues and peers and to share your ideas, experiences, and expertise. Please take full advantage of the networking sessions and the Q&As. I'm looking forward to an exciting day of presentations and discussions and to meeting many of you. Tomorrow, Bob and Peter will chair the conference when there are equally interesting and topical agenda items. But for now, let's get this party started.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you very much. So everybody, please do post questions for Pauline in the chat on the stage area to your right. I'm keeping an eye on that at the moment, and there's nothing as yet. Pauline, could I just pose a question to you, which is around collaboration, which you definitely emphasised in your presentation, and it's being a key for success. what do you think, will Ofwat encourage collaboration by ensuring only companies who collaborate with other members of the sector will get funding through the Innovation Fund? Do you think that's the way that will go?
Judith, that's a very good question. And as I've said, I think the Innovation Fund is a fantastic opportunity for all of us to collaborate together and get that funding for some of that work that we're doing. Ofwat have made it very clear that the fund is expected to be based on collaborative projects and companies working together so that we can all learn and benefit from those projects. But of course, we'll have that presentation soon from Ofwat and from Harry, and he can answer that question himself much better.
And what do you think will enable collaboration or more collaboration in the sector between companies, and not just water companies, but between the supply chain and water companies? What do you think needs to happen?
Well, I think the Innovation Fund is I think the collaboration is certainly happening today. Certainly, I mean, we've gone through some of the examples of some of the companies who are clearly leading the way in innovative projects and collaborating with others. Probably there is more that could be done, and it's exactly for that reason that Jeremy will talk about the innovation heat map, so we can have better visibility and transparency of what work is happening across the business. That's also why we will develop the leakage route map, so we can make sure we're all very clear on what we need to deliver. We can set some clear deliverables and timelines there. But I think it is a mindset, isn't it? And it's about all of us being willing and open to learn, to change, and probably most importantly, to implement quickly. We've had the challenge, I know from previous conferences, that there are many great ideas, but how much of these are actually implemented and ingrained now in ways of working? I think we've definitely progressed in that space over the last years, but I think it will be about not just doing the projects and learning, but it is also about fast implementation, where there are good ideas that we all quickly identify and implement them within our businesses.
Thank you. One of the points that you made earlier is about being open to change. Just now you were saying, and there's a question from Michael Wilmot from Severn Trent, who's just saying Affinity Water's commitment to open data, so that's a change, is wonderful and refreshing. And what was the motivation behind it, and do you think other companies will follow?
Do I think other companies will follow? I believe they will, and I believe many of them are already stating the same intent. What's the motivation? For me, Affinity Water, we are going through a transformation at the moment. As with other water companies, we have a very challenging and we knew that the same way. So in order to new ways of working, of learning and developing, and that comes with having that open mindset, the mindset to be open to understand what others are doing, to share what we're doing that works well, and to learn from others. It's a win-win for everyone. So that's very much the culture that we're definitely trying to put in place across Affinity, and as I said, I believe many of the water companies are.
And I guess
that
also ties in with creating a culture for innovation, and so what's Affinity Water particularly doing around that, Pauline?
Again, that's a great question. It is linked to the mindset, isn't it? Innovation starts with having the mindset that you are willing to try new things, willing to fail, to be honest, because innovation is about trying things, figuring out what works, building on that, figuring out what fails, learning from that, and then doing things differently. Again, one of the things we're rolling out at Affinity that we've been working on over the last 18 months or so is business excellence. And that's something I feel passionate about, and probably because of my experience in other industries where I've seen lean thinking, Six Sigma, that whole approach of continuous improvement, learning from failure. I've seen the dramatic difference it makes to the performance of companies. And it is all about, again, being willing and open to change and to learn. So within Affinity, that's a program that we're rolling out. And the other part of that is not only does it help develop new ways of working, it's about mapping out processes, eliminating waste, whether that's waste in time, in effort, in poor quality, in repetition. But it's also a bottom-up approach. It's the teams themselves developing this and doing this work. So it's also empowering people to make change and do new things. So it doesn't happen overnight. It is a culture change, but it's a journey that we certainly have started and are making good progress. And it's one that I would support others in doing as well.
And I guess that, that's one of the key factors in achieving that tripling of the rate of leakage reduction. And we've talked about collaboration. Are there other sort of factors and features and things that you're seeing that are going to be essential for us to be able to work to and deliver on that reduction commitment?
I think we'll see a lot of that today and tomorrow. First off, it is, we have to start with a sense of collaboration. We have to start with people being willing and open to share and to learn from each other. That is, related to that is absolutely having open data and being willing to share that with others. And it's about having transparency of what's working and what's not, which again is part of the reason we're developing those heat maps and so. So I think over the next couple of days, we'll see a lot of the enabling tools to support really driving down leakage. But again, Judith, I would say, we're clearly making very good progress already. We're at the lowest levels of leakage now than we have been since we started recording in the mid-90s. So our teams and people joining us here today, they have made fantastic progress over the last couple of years. What we now need to do is just to keep that pace and keep that momentum, and really understand what's working well and make sure we're getting that driven across the whole business.
And the role of the customer in all this, and I know that many companies have experienced, members of the public, their customers, getting angry when they see water employees out, doing their jobs and fixing leaks. How do we really get across to the customers who are at the heart of everything? How do we get across to them what we do is so important?
Well, I think there are a couple of things in that. We certainly have experienced some customers being agitated when they've seen our teams out and about. And I know many companies, including Affinity, we've developed cards that people can wear, can explain that they're key workers. A lot of it is about communication and explaining what we're doing and why we're doing it. And what we've found is when we have done that, when people have come forward, it's actually been okay. So I think being out and about, as long as we can explain why we're doing it, it's in the interest of customers. We can't just stop doing that activity, for the longer term future of water supplies. The second aspect, though, is certainly what we've seen is when we've been asking our customers to change their behaviours, there will always be that sense of, well, we're doing that, but what are you doing? What are you doing for us? And again, I think leakage is one of those very visible factors that will be held against us, or will be a positive for us, depending on how well we perform. If we fail our leakage targets, that kind of gives the headline news to those who kind of want to criticize the water sector. If we're meeting those targets and showing that we're being innovative, we're collaborating, we're doing new things differently, we're open to change, we really want to deliver for our customers, that turns things around, and it kind of hopefully what we've seen in those cases, that brings customers with us. If they understand we are doing our part, then we're all in this together. It can be a positive. But again, that's all the more reason why we really have to drive this leakage. For any customer, it's very difficult to explain that a quarter of our water gets leaked out of our pipes. That's a very difficult one to explain. So I think customers are right in challenging us. Whatever the history and the reasons and everything else, it's a valid challenge. So we need to do our bit to drive it down as quickly and as effectively as possible.
Now, everybody, any further questions for Pauline before we wrap and move on to our next session? Michael, thank you for yours, and I urge you to post those last questions, and we will look at closing the session. Nothing forthcoming at the moment. Okay. Great.
People get a chance to get a cup of coffee before the next session. Huh?
So it's a very full day. Oh no, so a question has just popped in. have Affinity been affected? So thank you, Andrew Blinkan from Northumbrian. Have you been affected by the recent weather? Do you think the 3-year rolling average is a good approach for leakage performance commitments going forward? Oh, that's yes, a nitty gritty.
For the first one, I think all companies have been affected by the recent weather, but we're hopeful that we have improved our processes, and our means for finding, detecting leaks has certainly improved in the last year. So we're fairly confident that we will hit the targets for this year. On the 3-year rolling average, I probably would leave that to my leakage experts to talk to you about that. Certainly, we've had some discussions on that internally, but I would leave that to my technical guys to talk to you, Andy, about that one, if you don't mind.
And another question that's in from Joe Parker from Watershed Associates. So when the images in the news associated with leakage so often feature listening sticks or repairs featuring excavation with a disruption, how can we attract the bright young minds we need to reach our ambitious targets? I think that's a really good question to finish on. Yeah.
That is, because this is about being clever and looking at new ways of doing things. And you're right, some of the images are quite old-fashioned. Again, I can speak for Affinity. We are putting our brightest brains on leakage, and that has made the difference in the last year. We've also recently hired 10 leakage apprentices. So we're very much of the view that we need to bring in sort of young, fresh energy, fresh minds, and really make sure that they're targeted and focused on some of these new ways of working. And hopefully we bring that skill in-house. But yeah, very, very, very good point. This is about bringing in fresh thinking, fresh minds, and some very, very smart people to address this challenge.
Thank you very much, Pauline. And certainly there's some great minds and great thinking and experience and insights that we're going to all share during the rest of today and tomorrow. And thank you for highlighting earlier. Thanks to everybody for contributing, just as speakers and also as contributors and delegates.